Hi friends, thank you for clicking on this video. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this episode, I'll recap the storyline of the latest 2024 action movie. This film tells the story of a retired Chinese soldier who races against time to confront a terrorist attack targeting Chinese communities abroad. With only 12 hours on the clock, he must summon all his strength and courage to protect his fellow countrymen and survive a harrowing ordeal. The movie, titled Fury 12 Hours, was released in August 2024 and received a rating of 6.7 out of 10 stars on IMDb. So make sure your gadgets are running smoothly. Let's dive straight into the storyline. The story begins with a retired Chinese soldier named Li Jun. He is seen at a police station, pleading once again for the officers to help find his family. In his memories, he recalls a horrifying incident where he was severely injured and saw his family trapped in a car accident. However, every time he visits the station, the police always tell him to come back next week. On his way home by bus, Li Jun even asks the driver to take him back to the city the next day. It's revealed that for the past 10 years, Li Jun has been traveling back and forth to that city, searching for any information about his family, but he has never succeeded. The bus driver then says, "If I were the police, I'd be tired and bored handling this case. It's been 10 years. You need to let go. Maybe your family is already gone." However, Li Jun refuses to give up. He firmly believes, saying, "My son has a red birthmark on the right side of his neck." After waking up, Li Jun goes about his daily routine, serving customers at his small convenience store, which also doubles as his home. The store is located in an isolated community in a foreign country. One of his regular customers is a police officer named Tinan, who often stops by to shop and pay for goods. Li Jun remembers a moment when his wife gave him a used car as a gift. He was overjoyed and delighted to receive it. However, not long after, he snaps out of his reverie when his shop shakes as if there's an earthquake. Curious, Li Jun immediately steps outside to see what's happening. The story then shifts to 1 hour earlier, at a state-owned safe house located in Palai. There, a group of security forces is guarding a woman who is a key witness in a major case. The woman has now become the primary target of the terrorists. Meanwhile, 3 local teenagers frequently come to harass them, shouting, "Get out of our country." Although the officers always try to chase them away, the teenagers persist in their disturbances. When the situation finally calms down and the officers are talking, suddenly, there's the sound of gunfire. Li Jun, seeing a terrified young girl, tries to help her. However, he is immediately attacked by someone. Inside the house, they also realize that the woman they were supposed to protect has disappeared. "She's gone from here," says one man. Shortly after, the situation descends into chaos. After being captured, the man is brought before the leader of the terrorist group, known by the nickname Father. Father is accompanied by a woman named Cherry. "I know what you want, but the witness is already gone," Father says calmly. Moments later, one of his subordinates, Siuji, hands him a phone because there's an incoming call. The person on the other end is furious about the attack on the Chinese community. However, Father responds firmly, "We only took the woman I'm looking for. I just want that woman. If I don't get her, both of us will suffer." The person on the phone ultimately issues an ultimatum to Father and his team. They have only 12 hours to find the woman. Meanwhile, at Linwen's convenience store, a priest and a man named Lin bring in an injured child. Seeing the child's condition, Linwen quickly provides aid by making an incision in the child's abdomen to remove something, eventually stabilizing the child. Not long after, Father and his team arrive at the convenience store. Realizing the situation, Linwen hides in fear. 3 men inside the store step out with the intention to surrender.
Just pass through.
However, before they can speak, Father shuts the store door and says, "Don't be afraid. If you cooperate, everyone will be safe." It turns out Linwen is the person Father is looking for. He had escaped from the safe house earlier. One of Father's subordinates suggests killing everyone in the store and taking Linwen away. However, Father forbids it. "Never underestimate the resilience of a Chinese soldier," he says sharply, surveying the area. Amid the tense situation, Linwen plans to surrender, but Lei stops him and quickly shuts the store's rolling door. Father then orders one of his men, Yusuf, to enter the store and capture Linwen. Thinking quickly, Lei gathers items like nails and other materials and places them inside the microwave as part of his plan. After setting things in motion, he and the others descend into a well that turns out to be the entrance to an underground tunnel. Once he ensures the others are safe below, Liu returns to the surface to confront their enemies with extraordinary courage. After successfully killing Yusuf, Liu returns to the underground tunnel and joins the others to continue navigating it toward the exit. Meanwhile, the troops entering the tunnel discover Yusuf's lifeless body. Cherry, upon seeing Yusuf's condition, is overwhelmed with grief. It turns out Yusuf held a special place in Cherry's heart. When Cherry was a young girl, she was often bullied by boys her age. During one such incident, Father and Yusuf came to her rescue. Father had said, "You don't need to be afraid anymore. From now on, I'll be your father, and no one will dare to bully you." Yusuf, who became Cherry's protector, once gave her a sweet cherry fruit saying, "Eat this. You'll feel better." Remembering that moment now fuels Cherry's rage. Filled with vengeance, she removes Yusuf's face covering, ties it around herself, and vows to avenge his death. Cherry immediately sets off to hunt down Lee. Seeing this, Father orders all his troops to accompany Cherry. However, Seoji intervenes. "Let me handle this." "Father, stay here," Seoji says. With only 7 hours remaining, Father reluctantly agrees to the plan. In the tunnel, Lei hears the approaching enemies. He quickly instructs the others to keep moving toward the exit while he decides to stay behind and face them alone. While unconscious, Lee's memories take him back to a moment with his family. His son had once given him a wristwatch as a gift, along with a message. The watch would remind him of time and act as an alarm if he ever fell asleep. When the alarm on the watch starts ringing, Lee awakens from his fainting spell. He immediately goes after the others, but they are all trapped because the iron door is locked from the outside. Meanwhile, Father receives a report that part of the tunnel has collapsed, blocking the exit with debris. Overwhelmed with rage, he orders Seoji and the troops to enter the tunnel to find Lee. Back with Lee and his trapped group, the priest is seen praying for the veiled terrorists who have died. This prompts one of the group to ask, "Why would you pray for such evil people?" The priest explains that the veiled terrorists were actually very young. 3 years ago, they were just homeless kids who came to the church every Sunday for free bread, the priest recounts. "At that time I taught them to read books whenever they visited. But one day, they returned wearing different clothes with veils and demanded a large amount of bread. The church couldn't fulfill their request. When I invited them to pray, they asked, 'Will our prayers be accepted, even though we've become killers?'" The priest continues, "They were victims of circumstance. Most of them became orphans because of riots orchestrated by the veiled organization." Lee regains full consciousness and finds Linwan beside him. Linwan asks for Lee's help to protect a chip containing the complete records of the largest criminal organization in Southeast Asia. The chip also holds assets worth $3 billion in digital currency. The veiled organization is relentlessly pursuing Linwan because of it. Linwan reveals that he was once part of the veiled organization. The group recruited orphans, who were taught to refer to their leader as father. However, Linwan had been fortunate due to his computer skills and was promoted to head of the IT department, granting him access to secret files. When he discovered that many children were orphaned by riots intentionally orchestrated by the organization, he decided to escape. It took Linwan 3 years to steal the chip and successfully flee. He explains that only with external help can the veiled organization be destroyed. Pleading with Lee, he asks him to take the chip out of there. But Lee refuses, saying, "We're getting out of here alive, and you will be the one to carry the chip." Suddenly, they feel a cool breeze coming from outside. Tinan realizes, if there's wind coming in, there must be a way out. They locate the source of the wind, a crumbling section of the wall. With great effort, they break through the wall and find an escape route. On the other side, Father receives a map showing the tunnel's exit. He immediately leads his troops to pursue Lee and his group. The scene transitions to 5 a.m. Lee and his group manage to find an exit through an air vent at the tower of the tunnel. "Finally we can breathe fresh air," one man exclaims. But suddenly the sound of a gunshot echoes. After successfully eliminating the enemy sniper, Lee and his group quickly leave the area. Not long after, Father and his forces arrive at the location. Seoji inspects the upper levels but finds no one. However, when he glances toward a nearby warehouse, he realizes that Lee and his group are hiding inside. Lee, knowing that the enemy would soon reach the warehouse, instructs Tinan to take the others and escape with the chip. "I'll stay here to hold them off and face the enemy," Lee says firmly. Initially the group refuses to leave him, but Lee insists, prioritizing Linwan's safety and the crucial chip they carry. In the end, the group departs, leaving Lee alone. Shortly after, Seuji receives a report that his men have arrived at the warehouse. He and his team begin to enter the building in search of Lee. After defeating the enemies, Lee takes one of their communication devices and contacts Seuji. With a tone of defiance, Lee says, "Come here. I'm waiting for you." The scene shifts to 5:50 a.m. Seuji and his men arrive at the location. They spread out, carefully searching the area for Lee. Along the way, they find the bodies of their fallen comrades. Soon after, they all converge at a single point after hearing a sound and spotting a moving toy rabbit. When Lee successfully pins Seuji to the ground, his wristwatch alarm goes off. He notices the birthmark on the right side of Seuji's neck and is shocked to realize that Seuji is the son he has been searching for over the past 10 years. With a heavy heart, Lee releases Seuji. Unaware of the truth, Seuji, overwhelmed with emotion, stabs Lee in the stomach with a knife. Lee can only endure the pain, gazing at his son. Tears stream down Seuji's face as memories of his past begin to surface, and he realizes that the man he has just injured is his biological father. Moments later, father appears and attacks immediately. He hands a sword to Seuji, saying, "Finish him now, kill him quickly." In the next scene, it is narrated that Lee Jun is gravely injured and now in a coma following the life-or-death battle. Tinan decides to return to China and settle in his father's hometown, starting a new life. Meanwhile, Seuji is sentenced to life imprisonment for his actions. In the final moments, Lee is seen at an airport, accompanied by the priest, who waves goodbye as a farewell. However, before Linwen departs, the priest suddenly pulls out the chip from his pocket and shows it to Linwen. With a mysterious smile, he says, "Father will always be with you." Hearing this, Linwen is left in shock. The film ends with an air of mystery. That's the recap for this episode, guys. Please continue to support this channel by clicking the subscribe button, and don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment if you found this video entertaining. See you in the next videos. Bye-bye. Thank you.